Likely that it will exacerbate the weaknesses in Europe, this kind of turmoil, and governments have to be ready to offset the adverse effect on trade if that happens. The departure of Greece, as I mentioned before, is likely not to be that significant. Greece restructured its debt. Before that, there was a lot of uncertainty. The ECB took this very peculiar position of saying it was so uncertain that it wanted to be sure that it was not what was called a credit event. And I say it's very peculiar because if the banks had bought insurance against the bonds going down, they had policy to pay off. If you buy insurance, the last thing you want is the insurance company to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you bought an insurance policy, but we don't cover the risk." You know, that's what insurance companies always like to do. So that should give us hope, but we should be aware that there's a lot of uncertainty. And what words of wisdom I would have is the Asian governments have to be vigilant, aware of the risk, ready to act to offset any adverse trade and finance effects. A big difference.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor.
That you use the common strength of Europe.
But this is a very fundamental thing that needs to be done.
Oh,
rethinking the whole structure of the euro.
I could do it, but there would have to be a broad consensus. But it doesn't have to be through a treaty. So there are some things they could do right away.
And concretely?
More onto the growth focus, and part of that would be to create a common. Astounding. And it just shows you central banks get out of touch with their mission and with the economy. But the point, what happened? Almost nothing. It is a common framework. It has the ability to do it, and say if it borrowed, I'm